Hello friends, it's Lisa. Welcome back. We have a new video. This is the third installment of Thinking Outside the Box Thursdays. Today we're creating some dimensional elements. I'm going to use some of these darkroom door stamps to use as a template to create these dimensional elements. So I'm stamping them down with the Gina K amalgam ink. This is Whisper, the Whisper color of the amalgam inks. So she used to have just black amalgam ink, but now she came out with a few other colors. So I got the mini cubes of, I think, 3 of them. And what I really like about these is you can use them with water, with alcohol based, with just about anything, and they don't move or react. Plus, with the Whisper, it's so light, once you put almost anything on top of it, you can't see those lines. Now I'm taking the Gina K Glitz glitter gel, and I'm going to mix that with some Distress ink. The great thing about getting just the clear glitter gel, is you can color tint it in any color you want with your ink pads. The bad thing is it doesn't actually change the color of the sparkle. So the sparkle's still going to be that white, but you will have a different color. So it's a way where if you don't have the money or don't want to spend it on getting 10 different colors, you can just get the one clear, and especially if you're not sure you're going to like it, which is why I got just the clear, is I just wanted to try it. So I used that cupped shape to kind of shape the blue flowers into multiple little flowers. So I use the shape of the tool, and these are silicone tools, to shape that glitter gel. Next, I'm taking some heavy gel medium. I mixed it with some red Distress ink, and I'm using more of the knife blade silicone tool to move and shape the next flower, which is more of a tulip shape. It's important to think about what texture or shape you're trying to create, because you can get these little silicone tools in packs of 6 usually, and they come in all of the different tip shapes are different. So you want to have the right tool for what you're trying to create. Finally, I'm using this Cosmic Shimmer Pearl Luster gel to do the white daisy-like flower. I'm using another silicone tool, and this one's just kind of like a Phillips head screwdriver shape. I have 2 sets of these, one that's larger that I used on the 2 other flowers, and then this smaller set that I'm going to use in the more detailed areas. So you see how fast this goes. I do have it sped up twice the regular speed, but it didn't take very long at all to create these different flowers. I'm going to mix some metallic bronze color into the Pearl Luster gel, and it just tints it a little bit. I will be adding some shading, and you'll see that in just a minute. Next, I'm taking 3 different greens, and you saw those just a second ago, along with one of my all-time favorite texture pastes, and this is the paper texture from Prima. It's just such a fun texture, and there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. I decided to add 3 different colors so I could kind of blend into each other. First, I'm taking and adding it into the stems, and I'm going to take the medium color and then add a little bit of the darker green at the very base of that flower. I'm also taking the knife blade and I do run it along the edges to get a crisp edge as well. I'll end up fussy cutting all of this out. You would not be able to die cut it just because you would ruin the texture and the effects that you've worked so hard to create. But if you did have the die cuts and wanted to use those, what you would do is you die cut it before you put the texture paste on, and you would just tape those. You could die cut it out and then tape on the back with some washi tape so it wouldn't move around and you could hold the whole paper still. And then once everything was dry, you just take the washi tape off the back. So then I'm just adding some of the lighter colors on top of the darker colors, and it just gives it a really cool look. You could have definitely done this with the flowers as well. There's also another way you can add dimension, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Here I'm taking the ballpoint end of my tool and just adding a little bit of definition to that blue. So I've fussy cut it out almost all of the flowers. I'm going to show you how I fussy cut, but I didn't want to make you sit here for a long time. The fussy cutting does take a little bit of time, but with these scissors, I found that it is much easier to fussy cut than with any other kind of scissors, so it's not too bad. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but I don't mind it so much when I use these spring action scissors. And I believe that they're Fiskars brand. I found them at Michael's and just used a 40% off coupon. So next, you can see I just snip right up to the edge, and when I get to the corner, I want to really look where I'm going, so I don't snip off anything I don't want to snip off, but I do snip off everything I do want to snip off. So I'm taking my Faber-Castell Pitt markers, which these are India inks, so it's awesome because you get a little bit of playtime where you can smush or even with just a little bit of water wipe off anything that you did when you're doing it over a plastic or a coated surface. When you do it just straight onto paper, you don't get that time. But when you do it on a plastic surface, like on these gel mediums, you have some playtime, but it dries permanent. So they're really fun to work with, especially if you're doing any kind of mixed media technique. Then I did line the edges just so that if I did make any mistakes fussy cutting, it all just kind of blended in together and you couldn't notice them. Here you'll see I'm able to do 2 different tones, a dark tone and a mid-tone, and I'll use my finger just to flick those into the red. But there you could see I felt like I added too much, so I licked my finger and wiped away a lot of that color. Now I'm going back in and adding quite a bit less, because a little bit of this ink actually goes quite a bit of the way. I ended up doing this for the white flower too. I just didn't video it because it's exactly the same as I'd done for the red and the blue. I didn't make any I didn't color the green at all, so because I'd done that in 3 different tones. Next, I cut out this white piece, this big oval, and I didn't show you creating this back piece because I don't end up using it. I thought it was going to look really cute. I used the same colors I'd used in the cards, and I just blended that piece together, but it kind of was boring, and I didn't want boring. So I took these 3 different alcohol inks and some Yupo paper, and this is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 sized. I wanted it just smaller than, no, it's 5 1/2 by 5 1/2, sorry. I did it exactly the same as the card base, and I've been doing a lot of these square 5 1/2 by 5 1/2 cards lately, but they're just a lot of fun. They're just such a good size. You get a little bit more than a regular A2 card, and the square size just looks so fun, and you can do so much symmetrical stuff on there. But it was really quick and easy to create this background. I'm just using my Copic airbrush, which I love using with the alcohol inks, and blowed that around until I got it where I liked it. Next, I decided to just cut out the oval from a square piece of fun foam, and then I'm going to glue that to the back of the white piece. So it's just slightly smaller than the 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. And I cut the oval just slightly larger than the oval of the die cut, so you wouldn't see it through. But it gives it just the right amount of dimension, and it's really easy that way. Next, I wanted the white flower to stand up in front of the other 2 just a tad. So behind the flower head, I put some fun foam and curved the flower edges or the petals back just a little bit. I don't end up putting fun foam behind the stem, but I don't think that matters either way. Then I really liked how these 2 little leaves looked one on top of the other, and I thought it'd be so cute to have the sentiment coming out from that. So to create that, I decided on using this Sending Love stamp, and I wanted it not on white because I have white in the background, and then I also have blue in the background, so I decided to go with the red Candied Apple shade that I used on the red flower. Then it kind of tied in that red color one more time, and I wasn't adding a new color in either. So I'm just using my blending brush to add that color on. Since I added so much, I probably would have been fine to use just a regular foam blending, because I did end up wanting that darker, deeper, richer color. I tried it a couple times when it didn't have as much color against the card, and I just didn't like it as much. This is a very vibrant, intense colored card, and I really liked that. So after heating that section, I'm just testing to make sure that the powder isn't going to stick. I use my embossing buddy so I don't get stray embossing powder everywhere. And then I'm stamping that Sending Love down in the middle. I used the grid lines on my mat and the grid lines on my block to find the middle of that sentiment, or of the square, and then I am determining how large I need the sentiment strip to be, and I'm just going to use my little cutting tool here from Crafter's Companion to cut that down so that it looks kind of like it's flowing out of those 2 leaves. I'm going to glue the 2 leaves to that red strip, and then I'll cut the edges off the left side so that it looks like that red strip is kind of growing out from those leaves. And you'll see that in just a second if I didn't quite explain that as well as I wanted to. I just wanted it to look like the red strip was kind of coming out from those, or some kind of flower, and that was the base of the flower or something. So I decided that it didn't look good just straight long. Oh, I did want to mention real quick, I just temporarily taped the stems to the back when I placed those down, and then I just put glue on everything and stuck all of that down. I didn't try and take that purple tape off. It doesn't matter that it's not meant forever. All the other glue will keep everything there, so that's no problem. I decided that this sentiment strip was too long and I needed it to be a little bit more balanced. So I cut in the middle and then I trimmed off the edges, and now I'm creating that fishtail effect to the sentiment, which just really pulled this card together. I think it looks really cute. You could definitely add some jewels, sparkly jewels or something like that, but I just didn't feel like it needed it because there was so much going on, especially with the background and the dimensional flowers. It came together really quickly, and it gives such an impact when you see all that dimension, and it just looks like you bought some really expensive stickers and really like that person who you're giving this card to, and it was pretty simple. It would also be great if you wanted to create some home decor to create some dimensional elements using the texture paste. Here are some close-up photos. I hope you really enjoyed this and that you give creating some elements like this a try. I did want to ask if you'd be interested in filling out a 8 to 9 question survey for a chance to win a $50 gift certificate. I'm thinking I have a few questions that I want to ask you guys, my viewers, and so I would really like some feedback to help me give you the kind of videos and experience that you're interested in. And so that would be super helpful to me. Plus, you'd be entered into a $50 giveaway. If you're interested in that, let me know. And let me know which online stores you'd be interested in getting a gift card from. For example, Simon Says Stamp, Scrapbook.com, Amazon. I can do any of those. So just let me know. Thanks so much for joining me. Here are some other videos you might be interested in, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Bye.